Hello, Cherie Hansen here. I want to talk a little bit about the winds of change, which we have outside. I'm thinking about how today is such a metaphor for what's going on lately. First, we have these violent winds coming through the trees, snapping off branches and leaves and blowing things across the yard. Had to take my umbrellas down in order to prevent them from ending up in a neighbor's yard, flying over a fence. Um, and then the sun comes out, and it's a very intense sun. It's a very focused. It's like a spotlight on a stage, and then the sun goes away. And I was thinking of how much that is like current times. One of the metaphors that came to me today was it's as if life gave us a coloring book. The only problem was, there are no outlines. So we're sitting there asking the question, well, how am I supposed to color it in? What happens when these things occur, when these times of violent, chaotic changes come in civilization, is that throws us back onto ourselves. So your coloring book hasn't got any outlines. Nobody's telling you what the picture is. Now it's up to you to figure it out. What are you supposed to draw? What are you supposed to put there? What is the picture that you're creating? And it's a time of great self-reliance. And I want to explain the difference between self-reliance and rebellion. Rebellion or being in a state of siege means that you have to force your opinion. You have to get behind those trees driven into the ground with a spike at the top. It's like a fort that we had out west. So your whole life is in a state of you trying to prove that what you believe is correct, and you're engaging in this siege mentality. The problem with this is always that the struggle that you're having isn't with the outside world. The struggle that you're having is with yourself. Because if you're constantly trying to prove something, that means you don't believe it. If you have absolute confidence in what you believe and the way you're living, there's no blip, there's no emotional spike, there's no reaction, there's no pushback, there's no defensive kind of way of reacting. You just do what you do. And you realize out of this amazing sense of contentment with who you are. But the difficulty is that most of our culture does not embrace the fact that we're human. We are not in a state where we are taught to forgive ourselves and begin again. You make mistakes, you get angry. You may spend years, you may spend a decade doing the wrong thing with zeal and a kind of warrior's intensity. But that doesn't make it correct for you. So now we're left where we don't have the pat on the head, we don't have the certificate, we don't have the accolades for doing things in a way that makes us content and happy. And for some people, there is a period of being lost in the desert. There is a period of feeling abandoned. Uh, for instance, so much of my training in my youth was to be a good girl. If I was good enough, then I was okay and I could accept myself. But when you have a world that doesn't have clear values, and you talk about the difference between metric and the American system, it's like suddenly there are 15 different ways to measure things. And so we're going like, well, how tall am I? You want to know in kumquats how tall you are? No. So it's overwhelming if you choose to be overwhelmed. And here comes the issue. The issue is to get into a relationship with yourself where you know what makes you content and peaceful, what makes you feel that you're in a place of safety with yourself, that you're not going to hurt yourself, that your thoughts are not going to drive you insane. And a lot of that takes listening. A lot of that takes paying attention to the body. What does my body want? What is my body saying? What is my mind saying? Is my mind saying something that's true? I would say generally 95% of the time, it's not. It's like a fuller brush person coming door to door. This spills garbage on the floor, and the vacuum cleaner salesman says, "Let me just show you." And they dump all this stuff out on the floor, and then they try to vacuum it up. And that's really honestly what our minds do. They just dump crap from our past into our present room. And it doesn't serve us. And I watch so many people when they're having conversations and they're trying to present themselves, when they're trying to identify their personality, go through these long tales of victimization and stress. And I remember that time when I was on an air mattress and it floated out to sea and I got a terrible sunburn, and they finally a boat came and rescued me. Why do I need to keep that information in my life? I don't. It doesn't serve me. It's the same thing in my mind as if we went out and rummaged in our garbage or our compost. I'm going to go through all the garbage in my life. Oh, you can just sit and listen to this story. I'm sure you'll love it. And the problem is that any chance we have to escape the old drama and the old story is done, because we keep leading ourselves back to the garbage can and we just go through it again and again and again. So right now is an opportunity, because the old story doesn't work. The old beliefs don't work. The old lines that defined what we're supposed to color in the coloring book are just not there anymore. And it's a glorious thing. What if we don't know who we're becoming right now? And isn't that kind of exciting? The only thing that we can use as our guide, our measure, is not centimeters or inches. The only thing we can use as our guide right now is the question, am I being kind? Am I being loving? That's it. And then just let go, embrace the fact we don't know, and let ourselves become something better. I'm very enthusiastic about what is going to happen in the next few months, because The errors, the corruption, the system, the patriarchy, the lack of concern for the earth are all going to be hitting us like a board across the head if we haven't let go of it already. And I personally don't want to go through that. How about you? How about we just embrace change and we just learn to surf it and keep your mind focused on loving? Thank you.